Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video sort of just going over how our world is going to change in the future, especially in regards to gaming. So as you know, COVID-19 is now a pandemic. It has been for a good 7 months now, and it's affecting us all massively. It's also affecting everything really, the world, in a massive scale, and this could be long term. Due to things like lockdowns keep coming and going as the virus picks up and then drops, until we find the not a cure, not going to say cure because I don't think there will be a cure for it. There's no cure for a lot of these things. There's no cure for the common cold, there's no cure for flu, but there's immunisations that sort of protect you against it or improve immunities. So until we discover that, which is not meant to be around till next year, we're just going to have this thing going on, this virus just affecting our lives. So how is that going to affect us in terms of shopping, gaming, everything to do with that? Well, at the moment, smaller stores are just closing down, losing businesses, unfortunately, and now everything that is working well now is deliveries and retail. Just to give you an example, at the moment, cinemas have been hit hard, movies have been hit hard. As you're all aware, as probably all of you have been to the cinema at some point last year, not this year, cinemas are all closing down because movies are basically on hold, because actors can't go to work, people can't move around the world and just get on with their general lives. So films are just stopping. So as a result, Sydney World, for example, cutting 45,000 jobs. This is just in the UK alone. As all the cinemas close, and this is long term. This is at least for a year, they're saying. So movies, for example, the movie industry is dying basically as it stands right now. Especially stores like GameStop, or we have a game in the UK called Game in the UK, where they sell physical copies of games because people can't get to these shops, or these shops are unable to open. People can't just purchase movies. You cannot go to the cinema. You can't watch movies. The movie industry is failing. So is the game industry in the sense of retail, going into stores. Thankfully, Microsoft have stepped up and they're going to help out. They've now partnered with GameStop, which is sort of massive news, really. So in the past, Sony had sort of some promotional rights, or they was paying GameStop to promote the PlayStation over the Xbox. But now Microsoft now stepped up with all their purchases that are going on at the moment. Have stepped up and announced a multi-year strategy partnership with GameStop, and they're basically just pulled them out of the red. They're there to help GameStop because, as we all know, GameStop is going under. Things like as digital sales increase and physical sales decrease, this is year on year, and this is going quite quick. I think about 70 to 80% now of game purchases are digital over physical. Places like GameStop really rely on physical sales and really rely on resales of games you don't want anymore. Are dying, so those kind of stores are dying. But Microsoft now has stepped up and going to help this, especially in the wake of the pandemic. So how does this affect, as I said, gaming? So as we've seen with movies, it's affecting movies massively. Cinemas are closing, but how are we going to bow by our games? And going forward in the future, this is kind of what this video is about, is subscription services. Yep, that's right. These things that everyone was saying a year ago, or even just a few months ago, are worthless, are pointless. Nobody wants them. Blah blah blah. Physical. Well, these companies now have the rights, have now the power of movies and the control. You want to watch TV, you want to watch the things you watch. With cinemas closing, with TV cutting down, subscription services are now booming at the moment because everyone's get their next hit of their next movie or watch their series that they used to, and they can't get hold of them as things are dying off, and now relying on subscription services to keep these going and streaming. Disney's one of them now, because all the Marvel movies are looking to, they can't be released in cinema instead of making a great loss, because some of the films have already been made, by the way. So and I don't know if you've heard the recent Batman with Robert Pattinson seems to be hit now, and that might be being cancelled now. Some of the Marvel movies have actually been made, like Black Widow movies, are actually being made. And then we've got the series like the new Vision, WandaVision movie, series, and things like that, are all going to excel on subscription services like Disney. But where do we go for games? This is where you go. It's almost sort of, I reckon that people downplaying this, and now Xbox Game Pass is now, with the coronavirus going on, the pandemic going on, has now become an even bigger sort of bonus to people than it was before. Like, because you can't get your games now, which you're struggling to get games. I mean, some companies are still delivering them. Amazon's making a massive boom in it, and a lot of the big stores that can deliver food are making lots of money through deliveries. However, as I said, because about 70%, 80% of digital gaming is now digital over physical, things like subscription services, as it is to movies, to games, is now booming. So this, I see Game Pass now, Xbox Game Pass, is that just hits your 15 million subscribers. Well, I can hit it see it next generation, especially on mobile games and stuff, when it starts hitting that, just booming and going through the roof as people now buy into the Game Pass, buy into subscription service to access their games, because they wouldn't normally be able to access them now before, because of being able to get through stores. Now with the Microsoft now buying up Bethesda and those studios now, and these games going to Game Pass, this Game Pass is only going to be massive now, and they're doing various deals now on Game Pass, I think, to reflect this. They're trying to draw more people in, knowing that at the moment you're going to struggle to get these games, and this is where you can get them. And as the subscriptions for Game Pass expand, I can see more and more developers that are struggling to sell games, struggling to make games, will put their games onto subscription services just to get them out there. For example, the Avengers game, which it's just, as everyone knows now, it's basically flopped. It didn't do well at all. I predicted this in a video a while back. What didn't help is the exclusive content Sony paid for the Spider-Man exclusive content. A lot of people then shun the game. A lot of Xbox gamers and PC gamers shun the game, saying they're not paying for a game that's anti-consumer. And the game inevitably failed. It means Sony threw a lot of money basically for that content, that exclusive content. The game's failed, so I don't think Sony are going to make that money back, because by the time the Spider-Man content and everything comes out, the game's going to be dead basically. It's going to go the way of Anthem basically. But yes, I mean, EA Plays now on Game Pass, with all the new first-party games and third-party games at launch of the Xbox Series X going straight to Game Pass, like Medium and such. So you can play, as it says there, Xbox console, Windows P10, or play on your Android mobile phone or tablet from the cloud. So in the future, will we all be now playing more subscription services? And I believe that is the way of the future, or for the near future anyway. I think for the next year, this will be the way to go for gaming. And I think things like Game Pass will be booming. It's funny because Microsoft seem to have been lucky enough to have just sort of went this route prior to the pandemic now, and I think this is going to be pay off massively. And I think now Sony are going to start going the same way, and I think you'll start seeing more games go on PS Now, especially first party, or going to PC to recoup those profits, because as you know, both consoles are having issues selling their consoles alone, because getting parts and making them, so they've both got limited numbers of consoles, but they need to get the games out there and need to sell the games to make their money back. And the best way you can do that is having your games on more hardware. And if you've only got a limited stock of hardware, then you have to expand it to other territories of hardware. Xbox is already doing that by expanding to mobile phones. They're putting all their games on mobile phones that are in Game Pass, plus PC. And some of their games are going to the Switch. PlayStation, though, even though they're not saying it, their games have now gone to PS4. They're cross-gen now, which they weren't before. Now they've switched to it. This is probably in light of what's happening. They've realised that they're not going to recoup profits from their selling PS5s because of limited stock. So now their games are going back to PS4. Just as Xbox are, they're going back to all their consoles. They're not limited just to one console. They're going back to, they're covering all consoles and stuff. They're doing complete cross-gen and backwards compatibility. But there is little news now, a little show of PlayStation 5 exclusives, where actually Xbox Series X has more exclusives as it stands right now, next-gen exclusives. So I think possibly the way forward for Sony will be going to PC. I think they're going to see more first-party games on PC. Maybe not at launch. Possibly not at launch. You might have to wait 6 months that it might go to PC. But more the case, I think we might see day one games. The games going day one to PS Now to push PS Now subscriptions to boost that loss of profits to make up for the consoles that they can't sell and the cost they are to make. So so just to round up basically, because this is only a short video I was going to make, because it was just playing on my mind thinking how the world is thinking, how the world's revolving, and you're seeing things are changing for us all now. So at the end of the day, we're all gamers basically. We're all gamers. Some are more toxic than others, but we're all gamers, and we all need to really unite to push and promote these things and to help developers, because we really don't want gaming to go bust or gaming to go under. It did back in the 90s, 80s. We don't want it to hit again. We don't want that to happen again. We certainly don't want developers to start crashing and going under. So we need to start supporting these. And if we can't get their games, if they can't get their games out, then the best way we can do this is through digital or through subscription services. So tell me what you think below. Your likes and comments. Please sub and share. Sorry, I'm a bit tongue-tied today. I'm not feeling too well, to be honest. But thank you all for watching anyway. And goodbye for now.